Everyone, my name is Cody, and today I'm going to be answering the most asked question that I receive on this channel, and that question is, how do I find my first freelancing client? So clicking on this video, I bet you're at least a little bit curious about how you can get your first freelancing client in the upcoming new year, which is a great start because freelancing has just endless possibilities. Now, what if I told you that I'm going to share my step-by-step roadmap, the very blueprint that I would do if I had to start all over? With over $1 million earned in freelancing, working on 24 different engineering teams, and working through many different industries and domains, I've distilled my experience down to these core principles of how I would start over if I had to start next year. So my aim is to actually help you find your first freelancing client, but also fast track your process through freelancing so that you don't hit the same mistakes that I did when I first started. Let's start with a quick disclaimer. You may have noticed that I just keep saying in the new year, and that is on purpose. So all the advice I have in this video should be valuable in the year 2024, 2025, 2026, 2030. So my intent is to keep this video up until the point where it's no longer relevant. And then I'll redo it for that year. But for now, this advice should be valuable for the next 5 to 10 years. The first bit of advice is mostly just to keep an open mindset. So keeping an open mind, you want to make sure that you're not dismissing work very quickly. Don't give yourself a lot of constraints. Most likely, your first gig is going to be something where you're moonlighting part-time and just doing stuff nights and weekends before you get that first full-time client. It's good to just get your feet wet with some smaller projects. And the idea is not to dismiss it just because of the size or what kind of work it is. Just get in there and start doing it. The first action item is actually kind of a daunting one, and it may seem a little embarrassing, but the idea is that you need to email pretty much anyone you've ever worked with. And the idea is not just to spam them saying that I'm a freelancer, give me work, gimme. The idea is that you want to do a personal email to each and every person and reference something that they've worked on or something that they're into, the industry, their small business, their project. The things you want to bring up are saying, keep me in mind. These are the skills that I'm working with, and I'm trying to get my first clients. So if you find any work or you know of anyone that needs this kind of work done, put me in touch and I will be greatly appreciated. Now, the idea of making it personal is that AI is just going to ruin all of this for us. If you just blast people with an AI written message, that's not going to be very helpful, and they're going to be less likely to help you out. And something pretty clear is that when you're starting, you want to actually just say and entice people and say, I've got a friends and families discount. You don't go ahead and say how much you're charging. You just want to base it on the work, and you want to try to get the work there in the first place. So friends and family, entice anyone and everyone you can think that could potentially have some work out there. By the way, I hope you notice that I'm not going too deep into a lot of these topics, and I just hope that it is helpful because I plan on taking a lot of these topics and expanding on them throughout all of 2024 to help everyone get into the world of freelancing. If that's the kind of content you want and need, then go ahead and like and subscribe, and then you can learn more along the year as we get into the new year. So let's go ahead and get into one of the main focal points of this video, and that is nearly all of the successful freelancers that I know do not get their business from Fiverr, from Upwork, from TopTal. Almost everyone works extensively throughout their own network. So let's start talking about the idea of networking. Networking with other professionals is not this dirty, gross thing that you just have to do. It is imperative that you do expand your network, but the idea is to mostly just become friends, become friendly, be genuinely curious about other people and their work and their jobs. And the idea of getting into freelancing is you want to network and get in touch and talk to as many people in your field as you can. One main thing is as you're working as a software engineer, you want to make sure that you are staying in touch and reaching out and talking to anyone who is actually already a contractor or freelancer and trying to learn from them. Try to help them where you can. Make it a two-way relationship. Just make friends with them and start to learn and understand what they do and how you can learn how to do that stuff too. Another great goal is to actually reach out to and talk to as many agencies and consultancies that you can, because that is just a more bigger group of freelancers. They kind of bandy together to get those bigger contracts. And that's the core idea, is that if you are working or are making friends with people in those kind of industries, then you're able to actually network with like-minded people, because more often than not, the people that work in those agencies or consultancies often branch off to do their own kind of freelancing after the fact. Also, this may go without saying, but like getting in and working in a consultancy or an agency is actually a pretty good idea, because then you get exposed to how work is done on a larger scale, what it means to talk to a client, to establish requirements and boundaries and plans. Once you're in like a consultancy or agency, you get to see how work is done in a different angle versus being a software engineer like that is based in a giant company. One more final note about networking is that network and make friends with pretty much anyone in any role of any industry. And that sounds like a daunting task, but the idea is that you never know where your next bit of work could come from. And working with these people and talking about what makes their days bad or like what things they're struggling with and how you can help, that's how you establish like a great network effect, and you're able to like work with that person in the future. So never write anyone off, because you never know what's going to happen a couple years down the road. Maybe that's going to be the best gig you ever had, is that someone you just talked to 2 or 3 years ago, right? So that's it for today for finding like the foundation of finding your first client in 2024. I'm going to expand on this in other videos later in this year, but also go ahead and check out this video where I talk about my journey through freelancing, and maybe that can inspire you to get into the field as well. So go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.